The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions, and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for listening to our show, All Aboard, live from Armed Radio. I'm Don Whisman, and I'm here with Dave Coots. Dave, you want to say hello?
Hey, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? I want to remind everybody that we'll be monitoring our All Aboard page on Facebook. If you have comments or questions, just go on there, and we'll be able to put them out on the air for everybody.
Yeah, Dave will be monitoring that because he has 2 cell phones. I have 1. And as always, Mr. Coots, I want to send my prayers out to all the men and women serving in our military, and I want to send a big thank you out to all of our country's veterans. And want to let everybody know, if you support President Trump or you consider yourself a patriot, please join our Facebook group. That's Trump 2020 exclamation point. Again, Trump 2020 exclamation point. Don't forget that exclamation point. Dave, as always, I've got a couple patriotic quotes. They're not very long, but I'm gonna read them to you, and you tell me if you like them or not. I don't know. This first one, it says, "America was not built on fear. America was built on courage, on imagination, and an unbeatable determination to do the job at hand." That was said or written by Harry S. Truman. I got one more here. You like that one, Dave?
I do.
Okay, one more. Now just figure out if you know who both do what I'm doing here. This next one says, "I look forward to a great future for America, a future in which our country will match its military strength with our moral restraint, its wealth with our wisdom, its power with our purpose." That was said or written by John F. Kennedy, and both those, if you noticed, both those men were both, I believe they were Democrats, Dave. But that was back in, when the Democratic Party was not a bad party, Dave.
No, that's back in the old blue dog Democrat days. No,
yeah, that's the word. I was looking for your words. I couldn't remember the old blue. You call them the old blue dog Democrats.
That's right. That was the old God-loving country, God-fearing, country-loving Democrats.
The Democratic Party that was for the poor people. That was for the working man and the poor, right?
Absolutely. They weren't socialists.
They've done a 360 ever since them guys. I don't know. What president do you think, when they did a 360, what Democratic president you think started that flip that they've done, that big 360?
I think it probably with Carter, but, Carter and Clinton.
Carter
and then 8 years of Obama just did it in.
Oh man, we got a lot to talk about tonight. But I always do this day in history, and like I was telling you earlier, today is June the 19th. But there really wasn't a whole lot this day in history. But in June 19th, back in 1944, World War II, first day of the 2-day battle of the Philippine Sea. U.S. naval forces defeat the Japanese fleet. That's basically, I mean, there was a lot of birthdays and stuff, but that's the only thing I could find really on this day in history. Now, Dave, last week we ended the show, and I said I wanted to talk about racism in America, and I think we'll get to that later, because we've got some more stuff to talk about tonight. And the first thing I want to do is remind everyone that the midterm elections are coming up in November, you guys. So if you're not registered, I urge you to get out and register. And I would also urge you to get out and vote. I don't care if you're in Ohio or what state, get your butt out and vote. To me, that's a patriotic act in itself. And here in Ohio, the state of Ohio, if you live in Ohio, please vote for Jim Renacci. We've got to get rid of Sherrod Brown. We've got to get him out of there. And I want to give a shout out to a couple that they'll be listening to the show tonight, or maybe the replay tomorrow. Jim and Lee. I'm not going to say their name. I look forward to working with you guys during the Renacci campaign. And Dave, I guess I'm going to help with the Renacci campaign this year.
That's great. Yeah,
We got to
great.
get rid of Sherrod Brown, Dave. I mean, we got to put people in there that's going to back President Trump. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Sherrod Brown is a joke.
He is, and I don't know much about Rob Portman. I don't know. I mean, I know he's a conservative, but I think he kind of stuck President Trump at the beginning. But I think he's kind of voting for him on certain issues. I'm not sure, but we definitely don't need Sherrod Brown.
Oh no, by no means. If you think about it, though, I mean, there's a lot of the establishment Republicans kind of stuck it to our president in the beginning.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dave. Now, I want to talk about this for all week long, and I'm sure you've heard the same thing. All I've heard about is Trump's zero-tolerance policy on immigration. It's ripping families apart, and now they're saying that these children are being detained. They're being held in concentration camps. Now, let's talk about this for a while, Dave. I've seen footage that shows the inside of these so-called concentration camps. Man, they had leather seats, they had flat-screen TVs, pool tables, ping pong tables, foosball, air hockey. I even seen a popcorn machine. This is America, Dave. We don't run concentration camps in this country anymore. This ain't Nazi Germany back in the late 30s or early 40s.
No, it's not. And, Donald, this is something that gets me fired up because...
Yes, it does.
I mean, this is ridiculous. We had, and the thing is, this has been going on for a long time. But all of a sudden, since it happens under our president, the media jumps on it, and they're vilifying that man. A lot of these policies started under Clinton and Obama.
Oh, exactly right. They're demonizing President Trump over Democratic policies. Dave, earlier this week, they even tried to save Melania. His wife was turning against him on his policies, but that ain't what she said. They completely turned her words around. She wanted them to come together and do some immigration reform, because right now they're not working with President Trump, and he's detaining them, but not like they say. And if you bring your kids across here the border and you break the freaking law, what do you expect? Well, I mean, you've said it many times on this show. If you take your kids in a bank, you and your wife, they're going to separate you to rob that bank. They're going to take you and your wife away from your kids, ain't they, Dave?
And they're not going to think twice about it. That's the thing. And you've actually got people that are sending their kids across the border unsupervised. If we done something like that in our country, we would have children's services knocking on the door, bad parents. That's the thing. I mean, this has to stop. We have to have the wall. We have to cut illegal immigration. It has to go into place right now in America. And this is one of the things that really gets to me. We have over 2.5 million homeless children, homeless Americans right now, and all you hear is about illegal immigrants. I don't even know the number of homeless veterans that we have in the country right now. So you have homeless veterans and homeless children that are actual Americans, and they get no recognition. They get nothing. Why? Because it doesn't fit the media's agenda. So they come in and they demonize Trump, and they want to say, these kids are living in concentration camps.
Oh.
Well, just imagine how that would make a Jewish Holocaust survivor feel, who actually had to go through the horrors of a concentration camp, who saw the gas chambers and saw the scratches on the walls from people trying to scratch their way out of concrete walls. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Our media now is so biased and so one-sided that it's almost comical.
It is, and remember, Dave, after they gassed them, they had these big ovens where they cooked their freaking bodies. That's a concentration camp. The media was showing pictures of these kids. They looked like they were in dog kennels. Now, my wife fact-checked some of these pictures, and they were taken back in 2014 under the Obama administration. Now, come on. They don't want to tell you about, they're lying. Dave, it's so fake. I can't even believe they're showing this crap. I mean, what it was. years. It went from Russian collusion. They tried to get him on that, nothing there. They tried to get him on sex scandals. I mean, nothing there. Maybe there was. Who gives a crap? Now he's putting kids in concentrate. They're trying to. I just don't get it. Why do they hate this? I don't know. They hate this man so much, and he's doing so much for this country. Like you said, though, they're just trying to. It's votes. Is it votes? Is that why they want him here?
Well, some of it is votes, but here's the thing: some of it is because they're afraid of him succeeding. Because if you have Democrats that see that his policies are working, then maybe you're going to sway some of them to say, hey, you know what? I never lived this good under Obama. Because if you think about it, 8 years of Obama, a lot of these millennials, they're not all basement dwelling, snowflakes. Some of them has got some common sense upstairs. So what they're going to say, hey, wait a minute, I've got more money in my pocket now. Hey, wait a minute, the economy's a whole lot better. Unemployment is down. He's trying to do all these things. So I think that's more what they're afraid of than anything is they're not only do they want the new votes, but they're afraid of losing some of these votes that are right on the line, that are teetering back and forth.
Well, and another thing, Dave, we can't forget, this is something you always mention too, something you never hear the news talking about, that's these 20 veterans a day that commit suicide.
22.
Is it 22 a day? I'm sorry, but, 22. That's sickening. It's sickening that they would even give this any coverage when we got so much bad going on with American citizens. We got a lot of problems in our own country to deal with. We don't have time to be dealing with these other people, man.
Donald, right now there's almost 40,000 homeless vets in our country. We've got 22 veterans a day that commit suicide. The average age for homeless children in the United States right now is under 9 years old.
That's sickening. It's really sickening.
And the best that the media can do is talk about illegals coming into our country. Now, I don't mean to sound mean about this or heartless, but guess what? I don't care about those illegals. Oh, you know what? They're kids, and that's bad for them. And I'm sorry, but their parents put them in that position, number one. Number two, we have to take care of the people here at home first. We have to take care of ourselves before we can take care of everybody else. When you have 40,000 vets homeless on the streets in the United States, you have 2.5 million children homeless in the United States that are citizens. Let's worry about them before we worry about anybody else.
Well, yeah, we hear all this on the news about Trump this, Trump that, but Obama's immigration separated children from their families, but you didn't hear anything about that. It seems like a double standard to me there, Dave. There's a big double standard when it comes to Obama and President Trump.
And there's always going to be that double standard. If you look at some of the groundbreaking historical things that he's done, if a Democrat would have done that, he'd been up on a podium, and everybody would have thought he was the second coming of Jesus. It's ridiculous.
So I guess the bottom line, they're going to do or say anything to discredit our current president. They're going to do anything in their power to discredit this president and demonize this great man. I call him a great man. I really do.
Oh, well, I tell you right now, he's exactly what this country needed at the time.
Heck yeah, I'll agree with that. But not even just the children that they're talking about. He's holding concentration camps and separating these families. But you realize this man, he met with Kim Jong-un last week, and they blasted him for that, Dave. Other countries blasted him for that. That's historical. That was history making. But they blasted him. They're not going to give this man credit for nothing. They're not.
If you look at some of the countries that blasted him, though, I think it was Canada, Trudeau. He's
Germany.
A joke. Merkel. She's a joke too. That's the thing, is these countries now, look at Germany. The European Union is in complete chaos right now. Number one, because of their economy. because of their policies of always putting, handouts, open borders. They can't pay for it all. Their economy is in chaos. And number two, if you go to Paris, France now, there's apps that you can get on your phone where you can see where the no-go zones are, so you know not to go in there.
Lord.
That's the state of the European Union right now. So I guess my comment to them would be, clean up your own backyard before you worry about ours.
That's a good one. And Dave, I've got this audio clip. Actually, I've got a couple audio clips. I'll play another one later. But this one here, as soon as I get it playing, this is President Trump, and it goes back to this immigration. I mean, he's basically telling the United States will not, he's saying the United States will not be a migrant camp. Let me get this playing here, Dave, and I'm going to play this for you. See what you think about this.
The United States will not be a migrant camp, and it will not be a refugee holding facility. Won't be. You look at what's happening in Europe, you look at what's happening in other places, we can't allow that to happen to the United States, not on my watch. For the rest of the world, you look at everything that's taking place, pick up your newspapers this morning, and you see. We want safety and we want security for our country. If the Democrats would sit down instead of obstructing, we could have something done very quickly. Good for the children, good for the country, good for the world. It could take place quickly. We could have an immigration bill. We could have child separation. We're stuck with these horrible laws. They're horrible laws. What's happening is so sad. Is so sad. And it can be taken care of quickly, beautifully, and we'll have safety. This could really be something very special. It could be something maybe even for the world to watch, just like they're watching our great economy, how it's soaring. They could watch this. We have the worst immigration laws in the entire world. Nobody has such sad, such bad, and actually in many cases, such horrible and tough. You see about child separation. You see what's going on there. But just remember, a country without borders is not a country at all.
All right. Now, Dave, that's a pretty powerful message to me right there. That says it all. I mean, it really does. I mean, what do you think about that?
It does say it all, and if you listen to that is a strong leader. That's a man that's leading from the front. That's a man that's willing to stand up to the establishment in his country and around the world and say no more. This is the way that this is going to be. We have to have borders. Our borders have to be secure. Period. End of discussion. And this is the way that it has to be. And if you don't like it, that's tough, because we are the greatest nation in the world, the greatest nation in history. That we are. But the thing is, over time, it's been eroded. And it just sickens me to watch the left play their games with our country. Well, that's all they're doing. It's just about discredit. Here's the thing.
A blame game.
Are they willing to go to the lengths of discrediting him at the cost of our country?
Yes, I think they are, Dave. I really believe that they would destroy this country to destroy President Trump. They would be willing. I think I wouldn't put anything past these liberals nowadays. I mean, it's gotten so bad. I've never seen nothing like this in my life. I've never seen a president attack this bad since I've been a baby. Since I've been born, I've never seen a president attack like this. I haven't.
Well, and it goes back to media bias. If you look at how biased the media is, and if you generally look at their geographical locations, where a lot of these medias are headquartered at, most of them are on the coast, East Coast, West Coast. L.A. and New York City. Those are the two of the biggest liberal cities in the country. So the media has always been biased, but anymore, it's getting more and more biased, and it's almost like them cutting their nose off to spite their face. Our country right now, if you look at it, Trump is our leader. So it's almost like you're on an airplane and Trump is the pilot, And all you're doing is trying to do stuff to make him crash the plane.
Yeah, if you want him to fail, yeah, he's like the pilot. And if you're on there wishing the president to fail, we're all going to crash and burn. So don't wish the president to fail while he's in office.
But it goes back to their mentality, Donald. If you look at the libtard mentality, okay, you don't have to look no further than Bill Maher's statements, last week, where he said that he would almost hope for a recession in the economy.
Yeah, I remember that. I can't stand that guy.
That's easy. That's easy to say if you're a millionaire, and if you have stuff in place to where you're not an everyday man, you're not an everyday woman, working 10, 12, 14, 16 hours a day to make ends meet. Both of you working, barely getting by.
Well, yeah, what about them? What about people like them? I mean, you don't hear the media on here talking about the poor people in America. All you hear them talking about is these immigrants, these poor immigrants. Like you said, let's take care of our own people first. Then we may worry about somebody else. And yeah, Dave, we're going to have to get that border wall up. It needs to be up. And I'll tell you something else, something that really bothers me, that there's one port of entry, I don't know where it's at, somewhere along that border, that people can come from other countries south of the border, and they can claim asylum. Now, that's one loophole they need to do away with, is this asylum loophole. Like you said, that's not a third world country down there, is it, in Mexico?
Well, no, Mexico's not a third world country. I mean, it might as well be, but here's the thing. Look at Mexico. Look at Mexico's southern border. It's protected by big old big old wall. And if I'm not mistaken, if you try to cross it, they'll shoot you down there. So what they're saying is, we're going to protect our southern border because that's us. But if you try to protect your southern border, then you're going to stop the people coming in your country. And the reason they don't want that stopped is, if you look at the amount of money that these illegals are pumping back into Mexico from here, it's staggering. The hundreds of millions of dollars every year that goes back to Mexico because these illegals are here working. And here's the thing. I don't care what your situation is. There's a lot of people that are in bad situations, and they come to the country the right way. If you break the law, you're here illegally, you broke the law. You don't deserve amnesty. You don't deserve to go to the front of the line. You don't deserve to go to the back of the line. You deserve to go to whatever friggin' country you come from, take your butt back there, and stay back there, and don't come back. If you send your kid, you lost them. Period.
Well, Dave,
if you break the law, and you got your kid with you, don't cry when we take them.
Well, I mean, eventually, I'm sure we deport them, but, man, come on. I mean, the Democrats, this is something they can fix. They don't want to fix it, Dave. They don't want to fix it.
Well, and we've talked about that before, too, Don. We've talked about the fact that they don't want things fixed. The Democrats do not want to cooperate at all on anything, even if it costs us our country. Years ago, there was a willingness to find the greater good in our country, whether it be Republican or Democratic philosophies. They could meet in the middle and find a greater good. Those days are long gone. And if you look at it, they say, well, it's because the conservatives went far right. Well, I'm still in the middle. But when I look at the Democrats, they're so far left. I mean, they might as well be wearing Fidel Castro T-shirts.
Yeah, or them old Soviet Union, flying them old Soviet Union flags, USSR flags.
Get a Stalin shirt. It's just ridiculous how far
Stalin or Lenin. Yeah,
how far to the left they've actually gone.
Well, I mean, Trump even tweeted something. I won't read the whole tweet, but he tweeted this. I'll read the end of it. Democrats are good at only three things. He said high taxes, high crime, and obstruction. Now when he says obstruction, does that mean impeding his plans for doing immigration reform and all this and that?
It's not.
What does he mean?
Not just his plans, but the country as a whole. If you look at the country as a whole, look how many counties that our president carried in the 2016 election. Okay, yeah, there's debate over the popular vote, but look how many counties he carried. If it wasn't for the big city libtards, You know, sucking on their thumbs, living in their mom's basement, the snowflakes. Then guess what? He would have blown Hillary away, which I mean he did anyway. But then they talk about the popular vote. But look at the counties, and that's the thing. In all these counties, you have all these libtards that all they do, all they live to do is they just live to block anything that tries to go through.
I think Jimmy just made a mistake, our producer, because I just got poked and it said wrap it up. It's only 8:28. I think.
I didn't know I sent it. I was setting it up.
I think it's kind of funny, but it's okay. Dave, can you remember?
Now I got to do it again.
Yeah, at 9 o'clock though, Jimmy. But anyway, Dave, can you remember what you was talking about now? This obstruction.
Well, yeah, we were just talking about how the libtards they try to obstruct not just the president, but all through the states, the whole political agenda through every state in the country. It's ridiculous. If you look at some of the major cities that are run by the libtards, okay, look at Detroit. Detroit is a cesspool. It's always been run by libtards.
Look at Chicago, for Christ's sake.
Look at Chicago. Exactly. Look at New York. It's ridiculous. I mean, Jesus Christ, New York banned the Big Gulp.
The Big Gulp. Well, look what McDonald's did. They took away their what was that that big old drink they used to have, the extra large fry, the extra large drink. I mean, everybody's so politically correct, we can't even order an extra large Pepsi if we want it. You know what I mean?
Well, and
it's crazy. Nonsense.
I just don't understand how people can vote for these idiots when they say all this stupid stuff. They're for higher taxes, you know, they're for less security at our borders, they're for open borders, they're for giving illegals amnesty and giving them all of our rights. It just blows my mind. I don't understand it.
Well, Jimmy said something. That's our producer, you guys. He told me and Dave before the show, we was talking a little bit about this, and Dave, do you believe this, what Jimmy said? He said he thinks that the people are catching on, though, with this mainstream media. He thinks people are catching on to him now. I hope they're catching on to the mainstream media.
I think they are. I think what it is, though, is people are starting to see just how biased they are. So a lot more, but here's the thing, and you've even said this before, it's getting harder and harder and harder to fact check stuff.
Well, yeah, you got to fact check the fact checkers. And Dave, believe it or not, I mean, believe this. Check this out. I mean, this is like what you said yet last week about Robert De Niro. I looked that up and I found out that was true. By the way, he was going around saying F Trump and all this and that. It's sickening. But Hillary Clinton comes back and said that Trump's border policy, it's horrific. It's so horrific. Well, Hillary, that's your policy, you dummy. I mean, she's calling his policy horrific, and it's her policy. It's Obama's policy. It's her husband's policy. That's what makes it so crazy. I mean, it's a blame game. They're blaming Trump for things they did in the past. And it's sickening, Dave. It's sickening.
Well, exactly. And if you look at some of Clinton's speeches, Bill Clinton's speeches, and some of Obama's speeches in the past, it was, we need tough border, you know, we need a stronger, more secure border. But all of a sudden, it shifted, you know. And I guess that's what makes me so mad about the libtards is they're more worried about illegals than they are the homeless kids on our streets, than they are the homeless veterans, than they are the 22 veterans a day that commit suicide. You know, and these people are these are people that need our help. But what do you see in the news every day? Illegal concentration camps. I mean, come on, that's just stupid.
Well, Dave, now I don't want to do this to you. This will be the last clip I got, but Trump released his weekly address last weekend with a powerful message about MS-13. I'm sure you've heard about the MS-13 gang, and a lot of them, Dave, are coming from them southern countries, and they're killing people here in our country. I mean, do you want me to hear this clip? It's almost 4 minutes long. You think it'd be okay to play it on here tonight?
Sure, play it.
It was his weekly address. I mean, it was a video, but I got the audio to it right here. As soon as it loads up, I'll let it play. It's about three minutes and something. As soon as it starts.
Every day at 5:23, I feel like she's going to come through that door, but I know she's not. Those are the words, and heartbreaking they are, of Elizabeth Alvarado, whose beautiful 15-year-old daughter, Nisa, along with her friend Kayla, was brutally murdered by a gang of vile savages known as MS-13. You've all heard of them. They're bad. Everywhere they go, the thousands of MS-13 gang members who have infiltrated our country so illegally and so violently live by their gruesome motto: kill, rape, control. Just weeks ago, an illegal MS-13 gang member was arrested for allegedly murdering a man and burning his body. The gang member reportedly entered our country through glaring loopholes for unaccompanied alien minors. The Democrats allow those loopholes to be there. They could change them so easily, but they don't want to do that for strictly political reasons. In Texas, 2 MS-13 members were charged after allegedly kidnapping, drugging, and raping a 14-year-old girl and then murdering someone else. In Maryland, MS-13 gang members are accused of stabbing a man 100 times, decapitating him, and ripping out his heart. Police also believe MS-13 members beat a sex-trafficked 15-year-old girl with a bat 28 times, badly disfiguring her body and her face. MS-13 has infiltrated many schools across America. A recent newspaper report details how a middle school in Maryland is suffering from violent MS-13 gang activity, including drug dealing, attempted gang recruitment, daily fighting, and alleged assault. MS-13 gang members are truly, and you've heard me say it, animals. And yet Nancy Pelosi and Washington Democrats continue to protect them and to push for open borders. They want them taken care of. They want them to be left alone. The record is plain. Washington Democrats voted against Kate's Law. They voted against legislation to deport gang members. And they voted for sanctuary cities where these violent criminals hide. Democrats in Congress have opposed every measure that would close these immigration loopholes and bring the slaughter to an end. Americans must demand their lawmakers support the legislation we need to defeat MS-13 once and for all, and to ensure every American child in every American community can grow up in safety and grow up in security and in peace. We have a great country. I want to keep it that way, and you want me to keep it that way. Thank you very much.
All right, that's powerful, Dave. That's powerful right there. I mean, what can we say about that? They are animals, and it is the Democrats that are saving these people. Why do they want these people in our country? Again, I'll ask you that question. Why?
Donald, you got me, man. It blows my mind away. I just don't understand how they could not be for protecting our borders, closing them down for illegal people. So if you look at the number of illegals that come on, a lot of them are hardworking people, and that's okay. I understand wanting to have a better life, but when you do it illegally, you're still breaking the law. You don't get rewarded. But a lot of those coming across, they are MS-13. Some of them are probably ISIS. Some of them are probably Al-Qaeda. And they're coming across unchecked. We have to get control over this. But we're never going to get any cooperation from the libtards.
No, we're not.
Happen.
And he said it. I mean that's what I do, Dave. I don't listen to these mainstream media people. I listen to the words of our president. He basically tells you what's going on, but the people seem like they don't want to listen to him. They would rather listen to somebody else's version of what he's saying. They twist his words, Dave. That's how bad it's gotten. And to get off this thing, there's one more thing I want to tell you about this. I know we've talked about this border thing most of the show here. But this I don't know if you heard about this cardinal. His name is Timothy Dolan. He blasted the Trump administration's policy of separating kids from their parents, calling it un-American and unbiblical. These are false accusations. This is from a cardinal. I can't. When is it going to end? When is it going to stop? I don't know.
It's not going to end. It's not going to stop. The libtard runs deep in the Catholic Church. Look, the Pope lives behind a wall. And yeah, you know what? Vatican City might be open during the daytime, but I tell you what, you can go into the square and stuff, but how about just try to wander on into the Vatican there and just stroll around the hallways and go up and kick it with the Pope and see what happens?
You're not going to gain access to that Pope. No, he's closed up. You know what I mean?
So I guess my thing to that cardinal is, I know the Catholic Church does a lot to help people, but if you look at the wealth that they have compared to the percentage of it that they donate and give, it's probably not that much. It's probably one-sided. So I guess maybe that cardinal should look in the mirror and see what his diocese or whatever you call it, if you're Catholic, whatever his group, congregation or whatever you call it is doing to make their community better.
Well, you're right. And Dave, I don't want to I'm not saying that, I'm not going to sit there and say all Catholics are bad, but I say some of them are misguided. Would you call it misguided or just, I don't know, would you use the word misguided when it comes to like people like that cardinal right there, Timothy Nolan?
Well, I wouldn't even say misguided. I would say political. They're political, and I guess the thing is, it's always been that way. The church has always kind of intervened in politics. If you go back through history, the Catholic Church has, and I guess I would say, maybe they just need to shut up and worry about helping people.
There you go. Yeah, spiritually, not politically.
Help their spirit, but when it comes to borders, when it comes to border security, when it comes to keeping our country safe, that cardinal just needs to shut the hell up.
Wait a minute, though, Dave. I think I've heard you say this on a show a long time ago. What our government was really founded on. The government, the role the government is supposed to play in this country. That's their job, is to take care of security. That's one of their jobs, is to take care of security. Not preachers, not cardinals. It's the government's job for our security in this country.
And it's not just Catholic. It's organized religion as a whole. If you look at organized religion as a whole, I think one of the biggest problems with it is they're quick to judge people. They're very quick to judge, but yet if you compare the people that they're judging them to, some of those people that they judge do more for their community than whatever church that they're coming from and judging the people about. And that can be a problem.
No, I do believe in God. I do. I know what you're saying. You believe in God too. I know you do, Dave. But,
absolutely.
Here's something. Now, I said I wasn't going to go back on this, but I know this one's going to pump you up. Can you believe that Paul Ryan, the Speaker of the House, he wants to give this amnesty to potentially millions of illegal aliens with a plan that he's been pushing, this amnesty deal known as officially as, I think they call it the Border Security and Immigration Reform Act. You realize it would give at least 1.8 million illegal aliens amnesty to permanently remain in the U.S., a population that is nearly 3 times the size of Obama's DACA program. What is up with Paul Ryan, the Speaker? He's supposed to be a Republican, conservative.
Here's the thing. Paul Ryan, Mitch McConnell, all those guys, they're established Republicans and they're rhinos. That's the thing right there. And I've said it before, the Republican Party is so corrupt and they're so out of tune with people that once they get into office, they stop listening to what the people want and they lose momentum. Look at the momentum they had coming in 2016 after Trump come in, and I'm scared to death that they're going to blow it in these midterms.
Oh God!
And the only reason that they're not going to blow it is because the libtards are too friggin' stupid and they're shooting their own selves in the foot. If the libtards had any kind of agenda and they had any kind of plan to work against the Republicans and the Conservative Party, there would be a blue wave like we've never seen before. But unfortunately, the libtards are just as stupid as the day is long, so they have no agenda, and they're more concentrated on Trump. So we might be able to get that red wave. But here's the thing. It does no good to get that wave if they don't listen to their constituents. It does no good to get that wave if you don't listen to the people that put you in that office. Once you get in there, you don't need to be in there for 20 or 30 years. I've said it time and time and time again. Those guys up there might as well have billboards on who stuck money in their pockets, or who's donated to their niece's college fund, or who's done this or that. Dirty politics, and it starts from the local level and it goes all the way up. It's so corrupt and crooked, and it's ridiculous. Term limit these jackrabbits. Give them a couple terms and get them out of there. Get new blood in there. We don't need a Republican that's been in there for 30 years in office or 20 years in office. We don't need it. 15 years. Get them in, let them serve, and get them out. And they don't need paid for life.
Well, the president only gets to serve 2 terms. That's 8 years. I mean, if it's good enough for him, it's good enough for the senators and the representatives. I agree. But, you know, we ought to send a message out to California right now, places like the states of California, New York. We need to tell them, take their states back. It's the people that runs the states. You guys that's living in California and New York that don't like what's going on, take your state back. The midterm elections are coming up. Take your state back. It's your state. You're the one that puts the people when they're running them states. If you're not happy, get out here and fight like me and Dave do. Get out here and fight for what you believe in. Oh my gosh, Dave, there has to be, I know there's thousands and thousands and thousands of good people in California. They need to get out of here, and they need to change their freaking state, man. Like California, New York, Illinois.
And I agree, but unfortunately, the libtard runs deep in those states. So you've got a lot of good conservative people in those states, but they're greatly outnumbered by the libtards. It's, you know, and I don't know if it's true or not. I haven't fact-checked this or not, but have you seen the thing about California breaking off into 3 separate states?
I've heard about that. Yes, I have, and I think it was on Dennis Michael Lynch, so it has to be true. Somebody brought that up about making it into 3 different states, and I think it would be a good idea. It's too big, Dave. It's too powerful.
Well, not only that, but I mean, here's the thing. How's it going to break up? You know, you're going to end up with a really, really, really libtard left-leaning state, and then maybe one in the middle, and then probably a conservative part of it, which wouldn't be bad. But I just don't understand how the Democrats think anymore. It just blows my mind. I mean, if you look at some of the statements that they make, if you just pay attention. All you have to do is pay attention to Nancy Pelosi, Maxine Waters, Pocahontas, and Chuck Schumer. It's some of the ridiculous stuff that comes out of their mouth, and you just got to scratch your head and you got to think, wow, did they just say that?
I wonder if they're on medication sometimes, Dave. I wonder if something's wrong with these people, and mentally, I wonder that.
I don't understand how they keep getting voted in time and time and time again. The people need to wake up. They need to wake up. And the conservatives, guys, you know, it's almost like they're afraid to go for the jugular. Like, oh, well, that's you know, below us. We have to take the high road. Guess what? When it comes to saving our country, taking the high road is out. If you have a chance to go for the jugular and get a libtard out of office, take it, do it, get them out.
Well, we need more people like Sheila out there. I mean, I hate saying her. I don't want to say her name on here on the radio, but she's calling in. Sheila from Texas. She's into politics. I mean, we need more people like her out there, like me and you. Like
Greg,
fighters.
Like Greg. You know, Greg from
Greg
North
Medlin.
Yeah, Greg from North Carolina.
I can say his name. Greg don't care. We got Chris Fitzwater down there. I mean, in Louisiana. I mean, we've got people in all these states, but we need more of them. We need more of them. They need to get fired up and just, I don't know. I mean, you can only do so much as one person. But I'm going to fight, Dave, and I'm going to keep fighting this system. I'm going to fight this system until it's right, until my dying day. I'm going to fight it, man.
Oh, absolutely. That's the thing. You know, as patriots, that's what you have to do. As constitutional conservatives, that's what you have to do. You can't give up the fight. I mean, we can never give up the fight, because if we do, then we've lost our country. We've lost it for our kids, for our grandchildren. It's gone. That's the thing. If you look at some of the things that these idiots try to impose and some of the stuff that they want to do, it's just mind-blowing.
Well, I agree with you, Dave, but listen to this. Obama, he's no longer the president, but he's still taking money from the taxpayers. Do you realize the state of Illinois approved $224 million to pay for streets and transportation projects in Chicago's South Side neighborhood around this Obama Presidential Center? It's his library, and they think that $199 million is going to fall directly on the shoulders of the Illinois taxpayers. Now listen to this. I looked up how much it cost for Ronald Reagan's presidential library. It only costed $60 million. I know it was a while back, but it was built entirely with private donations, Dave. Now, there's a big difference there. I mean, his library may be privately funded, but the state is charging the taxpayers for all the infrastructure that's going around his presidential library. He wasn't that important. He wasn't that good of a president. I don't think he deserves a $224 million presidential library. What do you think?
Well, I don't think he deserves anything. I think he deserves a big old swift kick in the butt and maybe tell him to go back to Kenya, wherever he come from, or my 10.5 4 double E up his butt. I mean...
Well, I want you to explain something to me, Dave, because I'm not really good on this. Our president said that oil prices are too high. OPEC is at it again. Not good. Now, I know OPEC stands for Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. Now, what's going on with this OPEC? What's he talking about? I know most of the oil countries are in the Middle East. I mean, don't we have enough oil for ourselves? I mean, why are we still buying oil from these other countries?
Well, because we're not completely energy independent yet. I know as being the Republicans, their thing is opening up more places to drill and stuff, whereas the Democrats' policy's always been to have it so environmental. They like to close things off.
So that's why we can't like up in Alaska open up new pipelines and stuff. Didn't Trump already did some of that stuff though, trying to get her own?
They've done a lot of that. They've opened up some offshore land that was previously closed by the libtards. They've opened up some national parks in some states that were closed by the libtards for drilling. And I mean, here's the thing. If you look at, say, somebody that says, well, I use a hybrid car, but if you look at the impact that hybrid car has versus a regular car, look at the lithium plants where they get their batteries from.
Oh, yeah.
Those lithium plants are horrible for the environment. So, I mean, we're leaving a footprint no matter what we do. Will there be a time to where we leave no footprint? I mean, maybe, someday.
Maybe.
But if you do it responsibly, I mean, could there be accidents? Sure, there could be accidents in any kind of industrial setting where you have people working. But their safety records now, with the technology and stuff they have is phenomenal.
So, do you believe that one day the United States we will not need to buy oil or energy from other countries, that we will be independent from any other country? And you also said something earlier before the show about Nikki Haley, Dave. Will you tell everybody about that?
Well, it says that I haven't been able to vet this yet, but it said that Nikki Haley announced that we were going to be leaving the UN Human Rights Council.
No,
and it's simply because of their policies and their bigotry toward Israel.
Well, I think we need to leave the UN totally. I mean, that's just me. I mean, I know it's good. We need allies. It's good to have allies, but it seems like lately our allies hasn't been the allies they should be toward the United States. I mean, it just seems like that to me. We don't really have good allies anymore.
Well, what happened was 8 years of the cluster, and that worthless piece of garbage that we had in office before, bowing to people, leading from the leading from the back, he wasn't a leader, and these other countries got to run around and do what they wanted to with us. And now you got a man in there that's a leader, leading from the front and saying America first, and they don't know how to act to that. So they don't know what to say about it. They don't know what to do.
I guess Trump scares them. I guess he's scaring the world. I mean, look at that little Kim Jong-un when he was sitting there at that table. I mean, didn't he seem like such a little scared kid sitting there at that table? And it took President Trump to bring him there. I can't even believe they bashed him for having that such a, this has been going on, like we said last week, for over 70 years. And he got that young man at that table. I know he's a ruthless dictator. He's probably killed thousands of his own people, maybe even more, but at least he's trying to get it denuclearized over there to keep Americans safe. That's why he went over and met with that man, to keep America safe and some of our allies.
It is.
I'm coughing. I'm sorry.
It is, and we've said this before. Trump could cure cancer, and the media would find a way to say, oh, he's hurting a pharmaceutical company. It's ridiculous.
It is.
It's just plain out stupid. If Obama would have done that, and Obama had been met Kim Jong-un, we would still be hearing about it this week. He would have been the second coming of Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, man! I wasn't even thinking about that. What if Obama? Obama would have never done anything like that. I mean, of course, we know that. But you're right. If that would have been Obama, man, that would have been like you said. The Red Sea would have parted again. You know what I mean? The news. They would have still been blowing this up. What a great feat Obama did. He met with Kim Jong-un. He's trying to denuclearize the Korean Peninsula. Oh, you're right. You're absolutely right on that, man.
And it's ridiculous. He's never going to get a fair shake. So that just goes back to, as a conservative, as a constitutional conservative, you have got to get out. You have got to keep the party energized. You've got to vote. You've got to get in your community. Start at the local level. And you can make a difference. You cannot get lackadaisical. You have to keep up the good fight. You have to keep it going.
So I guess what you're saying is what Sheila always talks about, is that red lava wave. We need that in the midterms and in 2020.
Yes, we need a red lava wave every time there's a vote. Now we need that red lava wave, but what happens is, like I said before, and I've said it time and time again, the Conservative Party as a whole does a horrible job at capitalizing on momentum.
You're right.
They do a horrible job in keeping in touch with what their voters want. It's like once they get voted in, they completely lose touch with the reasons that the people put them in office.
Well, Dave, I know we got like 5 minutes left, but I just want to tell you something that Trump announced, and kind of explain this a little bit to everybody out there, if you don't mind. I know you're pretty good with this stuff, but Trump announced that the United States would impose tariffs on $50 billion in Chinese products, making good on a threat that has been months in the making. I mean, what does this mean for America? I mean, how does this help the people of America?
Well, I mean, what he's trying to do is he's trying to bring our trade deficit down with China. And could it start a trade war? Absolutely. But here's the thing. We never should have been in a position to begin with where we have such a huge trade deficit with China, with all these other countries. For far too long, we've had leaders that have never put America first. They've let these countries work out these weak deals to where we're at the losing end of it.
Well, yeah, I agree with you totally, and I always agree with you on these subjects because you're always right about these things. But another thing I've been hearing, I don't know if this is true or not. This James Comey, that's another name I'm so sick of hearing about. James Comey. They said he's under investigation for for the handling of classified information. I think if it's true, it's time. It's about time. I think this guy, if he did the wrong things with Hillary Clinton, she should have been prosecuted. And everybody's still wondering why this woman ain't in jail. Thank you, James Comey. I think he needs to go to jail too, Dave.
Well, wouldn't it be kind of ironic if he's the buffoon that messed up and let her walk for having having classified servers in her private residence and that, and then him get in trouble for mishandling classified information. He has brought shame on the FBI.
He has.
Him and that top leadership and some of those agents that were involved with the start of the Russian collusion in all those investigations. They brought shame on themselves. People in the country never trusted them that much to begin with. Now the majority of them don't trust them, and that trickles down. That has the effect on the everyday person who is a good law-abiding citizen, who works for that agency to do the best that they can do. But what happens, when those idiots up top do that stuff, it affects everybody.
Well, I liked what you said. I didn't like it, but what you said is true. James Comey did bring shame to the FBI, and they had such a good name. And I think Trump did fire this guy, right? Trump fired James Comey, right? Or the Attorney General did. One of them did. But they need to get rid of all these morons. They need to get the FBI back the way it used to be. I mean, fair. I mean, and honest.
Well, there's no place for politics in our law enforcement.
No, there isn't. And another thing, when James Comey first came out, I know this is old news, but the whole Hillary thing, and people are still talking about this, Dave. I'm on social media all the time. When James Comey come out, well, we got 1 minute left, but he called it a matter, and the FBI is called the Federal Bureau of Investigations. It's not a matter, Dave, but you go ahead and wrap it up, buddy.
No, it's not a matter. It's just plain and simple. You disgraced the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We always like to close the show with another shout out to our troops. We tell you guys that we're praying for you. We love you. We're thinking about you. We're proud of the job you're doing, and I want to give a shout out to Sheila's grandson. I know he's out now. He's in training, so Sheila, we give him a shout out and let you know he's having a blast right now. I can promise you that, sister. And like always, guys, keep your head down and your powder dry.
And we'll talk about racism next week. Thank you guys for listening to All Aboard. And that's the